Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and do what you suggested. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we've made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. Yeah, when the old people start singing it,
it really gets your eyes misty. Think about this stupid old fossil.
America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It's been the greatest... Oh, the music stopped.
Wrap it up. Get off the stage.
I see the light. That's my time. I guess it's literally like that's what's happening, right?
Yeah, exactly. Get off. Yeah, they're bringing out a big fucking long ass cane.
Yeah,
and he's sliding off stage.
Yeah, just like all the vaudeville shows of his youth.
The fastest he's moved in decades.
It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interests of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president. Really? for the remainder of my term. Oh, man. I'll speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. That feels like there's so much seething anger underneath that sentence.
Yeah.
The faith and trust the American people have placed in him.
Yeah, that's a hell of a statement. No clear path for succession for who actually is going to be the nominee. Didn't endorse Kamala. Oh, and also this broke like literally 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it is currently 1:06 p.m. Dropped right before
so you're
we were
getting
planning on
completely
recording.
Unfiltered reactions to this.
I did not even read this before I started reading it out loud on mic.
Yep, the Democratic donors, they finally successfully pulled off their coup, and now they're gonna bring in some fucking right winger, fucking Andrew Sorkin, or Aaron, whatever his name is.
It's Aaron.
It's Aaron. I know that. He wrote some opinion piece for the New York Times about how they should nominate Romney instead.
Yeah.
And that's what I guess these fucking rich assholes are going to make us do. So there's nothing you can do.
The dam.
And we're endorsing Romney for president also. So
blue, no matter who, even if it is Mitt Romney.
Blue, even if it's red.
Yep,
that's right.
Yeah, I really think Aaron Sorkin coming out. That was the last straw.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. They were waiting. Like all these like Democratic voters were just like, what does Aaron Sorkin have to say about this? We've been watching The West Wing for so long. Such a big fan.
Yeah, well, we're wearing out our DVDs of The West Wing.
Yeah. It's a lot more entertaining than real life. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was reading this off of Joe Biden's Twitter. That means it's real, I think. Joseph R. Biden Jr. Did I know that?
Never noticed that before.
I don't think I knew he was a junior. He put that in there just to make sure, just to sort of like make us think of him as a young man. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's no way a junior can be 80 years old. The first reply on the Twitter is from Laura Loomer, good friend of ours. She says, Now you all see why they tried to assassinate Donald Trump. this was all planned.
Yeah.
That's a plan that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's clearly these elites, these political elites, I tell you, they're coming up with some crazy plot lines this season.
So many blue checks responding. Give me something good.
Yeah, Blue Sky is going to be really, really mad about this. I feel bad for them because there's been a lot of drama on there lately. This isn't going to help.
What's so dramatic? Or there's not enough people on there to be fighting, right?
There's not that many. I don't know. There's this New York Times columnist, Jamel Bowie, who is just like a standard liberal that they all like because he's the only good one at the New York Times. And then he doesn't really ever talk about like Gaza or trans people. And when he does, he just like brings it up as like a afterthought. Like you read this article about like immigration stuff and how the Republicans want to expel anyone who's not like a white Christian from the country. Whatever. Story of our lives. And then just throw in trans people. Anyway, so there's like a bunch of people who are like, you're supposed to be our one ally on the New York Times opinion board. And so a bunch of people went after him for that and he deactivated it. Anyway, it's fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. We don't need to talk about it.
They think they have an ally on the New York Times opinion board.
Yeah, I know. I know. And then, then there's a bunch of people who are like, all these trans people are being too uppity, and they have chased off one of the world's most renowned journalists, the guy that like probably like 5% of Americans could even like tell you vaguely what he does for a living.
Sure, yeah. Well, that's too bad. I prefer when people are all on the same page on my weird offshoot social media sites.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so there's nothing in his statement about who's going to take over. Like presumably Kamala Harris, but also if that was definitely going to happen, he'd probably say it, right?
I would think so.
And it said that there's going to be further statements sometime this week. So look forward to a really cogent and comprehensible video statement from our president very soon.
He could just let it fly. I mean, he can just be as like addled as he wants now.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about re-election.
You don't have to try to you don't even need to take that modafinil this time.
Yeah, he's going off the meds to finish out the term. I like that part of it, that I'm not going to leave office. Like, sir, don't worry about that. I'll definitely finish out my term. Mm-hmm. That's very important.
Yeah.
I'm incapable of running for president, but I'm definitely capable of still being president.
Hunter's got to get that pardon. And it's very funny. That's another really funny thing I've seen on social media where people are like, Biden has decency. He's never even going to consider, he hasn't even brought up that he's going to pardon Hunter. And he is 100,000% going to pardon Hunter.
Yeah,
I will eat my hat that I'm wearing right now if he doesn't. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's all that's left, really. And then you've solidified your legacy as the greatest American president in modern history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we got about a month until the DNC, so they've got 4 weeks to continue flailing and
dude, mini primary. The mini primary campaign. Yeah.
Let everybody vote again. Let's just do a real quick one.
I mean, can I vote now? I mean, I didn't vote in the primary, so do I get to now I get to be involved?
Yeah, you still have an unused vote. Yeah. Who would be your top pick for a Democratic nominee?
I mean, Kamala, obviously. I mean, actually, I don't know. It seems insane to have it be anyone other than Kamala.
Yeah.
But then it was also kind of insane to pick a vice president that you apparently didn't have any confidence would be the actual president at any point.
Especially being in the unique position that old ass brain melting Joe Biden was in. Yeah.
So it seems insane to be anyone other than her, and I feel like anyone other than, I don't know, who knows what effects this will have on the Democratic base. I mean, they're going to vote for the Democrat no matter what. So, I mean, I guess you could see the arguments why Kamala might not be the best for that, considering she's also not really a very popular politician or a very
strong
experienced
electoral record
politician. Yeah. So I don't
didn't
know.
actually make it to the primary in 2020. So hasn't exactly proven herself as a election winner.
Yeah. It's really funny though that people are like they don't want Kamala because she's too much of a progressive or something. Like,
yeah.
Like after Biden's been like tacking to the right since 2022, they're like, after the debate where everyone was like, okay, this guy like actually can't do the job. And then now it's like, oh, okay, now they're just trying to get rid of him because of politics. Like what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I think it's
like, is
probably
there any daylight between Kamala and Biden on policies? Like,
yeah, it's hard to know since like she doesn't
do anything.
Yeah, she's not exactly super open about how she like what's the difference? I don't know. Yeah, I think probably she'll be the presidential candidate, right? But then she's got to pick a running mate also.
Yeah.
Why not Cori Bush? I think Cori Bush is the safe choice.
That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be good. They keep saying some guy named Josh Shapiro, which I don't know anything about, except he's got a name that's a little suspect to me. I don't really want to vote for any Shapiros.
Yeah. Is that because of Ben Shapiro or like a general anti-Semitism? Sorry.
I wasn't even aware that was a Semitic name.
I think Shapiro is like a Jewish name, right?
I honestly don't know, but no, just because of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah. Yes, it is an Eastern Ashkenazi Jewish name, Shapiro.
Okay.
It's from the Yiddish name of the German city of Speyer, probably. Yeah.
Okay, now I know.
Yeah. What was his first name again?
Josh.
Josh Shapiro.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he like... Yeah, Pennsylvania.
He's the governor of Pennsylvania.
Governor. Mm-hmm. Don't know shit about him.
Yeah, they're floating like as like an actual presidential candidate, Gavin Newsom, which is like... He actually would be like worse than Biden.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty clearly. And then Gretchen Whitmer, who I don't really have a strong opinion on, but she seems like maybe the most like actually like competent as a like campaigner or as like a messenger.
I think she's pretty well liked in her state. And has also survived a very life-threatening kidnapping attempt. Yeah. That's a very real thing that almost could have got her, right?
Yeah. She has that swag of someone who actually is like possibly a person that you could imagine yourself talking to, which is you could have a beer with her, I guess.
Ooh, yeah. Maybe put her at the top.
You can't have a beer with Kamala Harris or Gavin Newsom. Like,
nah. I don't know. I think Kamala Harris would be a very weird hang. Yeah. But it'd be memorable.
Well, true. Yeah.
Sort of saying things you don't really understand and then laughing like it's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like people like that.
Yeah. She's wacky. She's silly. She's silly with it.
Yeah.
So.
I think. I saw. I don't know how serious this was. I saw somebody tweeting about how they saw people suggesting J.D. Scholten as a running mate.
I haven't seen that, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it seems that would be like a real, wild card selection, like crazier than Sarah Palin running mate selection, just because it would come out of nowhere. I feel like. Yeah,
I don't think that one's in the cards.
No, he's busy playing baseball, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Well, I had a bunch of other stuff we could talk about this week, and then some news happened right before the show again. How does this rank? Do you think that Joe Biden dropping out on a Sunday morning is more newsworthy than somebody shooting Donald Trump in the head on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, our podcast is actually like fucking cursed now. Like, there's like, every time we're about to record, there's going to be some crazy event. I don't know. How many presidential assassinations have there been? Assassination attempts versus how many incumbent presidents have not sought re-election?
Ooh, that's actually probably pretty close.
Probably pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think that this probably what happened today actually has more impact on the election than Donald Trump
I would
shot.
say so. That was my whole reaction. Like the Donald Trump thing, it's like aside, like from some crazy shooter, like, I mean, this was like the most shooter guy you could possibly have doing the assassination attempt. But if it was like some really politically minded person with a manifesto or something, it could have had a different narrative attached to it. But
if it was ideologically driven beyond just the ideology of like, I like to shoot people. I think that was his ideology. It's like,
he was like, this would be like a crazy thing to do. Like,
I guess he was right. It's pretty wild, man.
So yeah, I didn't really think that would really make that much of a difference, and I don't think it really has, honestly. But yeah, Biden,
I kind
the
of stopped
sitting
thinking
president,
about it, surprisingly, yeah. But they did talk about it a lot at the RNC, which happened this week. Did you watch really anything from the RNC this week?
I skipped through the channels, and I saw it maybe 5 minutes of it, and it was when they played that fucking rap song that was it was FJT, I think, and it was Forgiato Blow featuring Amber Rose, who is also spoke at the convention, which is funny. She was like a Kanye West collaborator, and then she was she put on organized slut walks and stuff, so she was kind of had some vaguely feminist cred.
Right, very liberation.
Yeah, I don't know what she spoke about, but that rap video did not go over well with the bass there.
Yeah, so you were watching this on live TV.
Yeah.
Okay. I really did not look into much. I watched Brenna Bird's speech and Hulk Hogan's speech.
Yeah.
Just telegraphing what we're going to be listening to in a little bit. But other than that, I was not really paying much attention. I did see some super social conservative type people posting angrily about Amber Rose being at the RNC because she's, in contradiction to the conservative values that the RNC should be advocating. I think mostly that being that she's a black woman with tattoos, right? That's probably what they really objected to.
She used to be married to Wiz Khalifa. They really don't like Wiz. The RNC.
Yeah. And where was he? I didn't see him anywhere.
Probably smoking weed somewhere, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's a much better place to be. So did you happen to see any photos of our Governor Kim Reynolds at the RNC?
Yes, I did see her. I saw her little get up.
She was wearing this really flashy sequined sweater, looking real grandmotherly. Yeah. That's how I felt about that sweater.
Yeah, it's something that your grandma, she might have actually made that herself.
Well, when she tweeted photos of herself wearing this, and she said that she got some great merch.
Oh, okay.
So I think she bought this on the street outside the convention center. I haven't seen anybody else wearing it though, so it may be a one of one.
Well, yeah, it just looks like the high school letters on the jackets.
Oh, it does.
She just embroidered them on there.
Yeah. It's got MAGA on the front, which we know is pronounced MAGA, and on the back it says rump.
Yeah. And she's also wearing Juicy Couture shorts.
You'd think that she tried to get a picture from the back, to show off what it says on the back. You'd think that they would maybe take another picture where you can see the T, but instead she posted one that just says rump.
Yeah.
Or I hadn't thought about this. Could be since she was a DeSantis backer, she's subtly undermining the Trump campaign by posting rump.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think this might be her unity jacket. This is to prove to Donald Trump that she's a true supporter, and that
debasing herself by wearing embarrassing clothing,
embarrassing herself with the DeSantis stuff.
Yeah. So in order to prove her loyalty, she's now embarrassing herself with some Trump stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even it out, even the scales. Okay, before we come back to, again, I want to play this Brenna Bird speech for you since you haven't heard it. This is also sort of an emergency addition to the episode. Not as emergent as Joe Biden dropping out, but this morning, the Cedar Rapids Gazette's best columnist, Althea Cole, did publish a new piece in response to last weekend's Trump assassination attempt. So, the Gazette is about 1 week behind in their opinion section. And her piece is called "Politics Brings Out the Crazies. Don't Become One of Them." All right, so if we just, in the context of what we were just talking about, he was a crazy. He was driven crazy by politics. That may not even actually be true, No,
I don't think so. He didn't seem very politically motivated.
Yeah, not much of an indication that politics is actually what drove him crazy. Although, politics kind of permeates everything. But she's talking more like partisan, electoral bullshit. I think the politics of, you should have a gun and you should be firing it as often as possible. That's not apolitical, exactly.
It's political in the sense that Trump is a very powerful person in the political sphere. It's right. I think it's more about power than the specific politics involved.
Yeah. He was a Travis Bickle type, just, whoever serves up a good target near where I live, that's who I'll shoot my gun at. Okay, so Althea is writing about what she was doing the day that Trump was shot at. She was visiting the Art Institute of Chicago with a friend, and she wanted to see Grant Wood's American Gothic. Finding it involved a journey that took us up and down multiple flights of stairs. Several times I held onto my friend's arm as we slowly made our way down the grand staircases. Regular readers may recall my regular mentions of being regular, of having quite a hitch in my GitApp due to advanced idiopathic arthritis. And yeah, she does write about this. She has an arthritic condition that limits her mobility. Falling down a marble staircase would be ... very bad in a life-altering kind of way. Okay, understandable. Mm-hmm. This is a quote from her to her friend in the moment. "I don't want to sound overly dramatic, but I have to admit, ever since that event I told you about, where those two weirdos dropped all those marbles, I sometimes try to be extra cautious when going up and down stairs in a crowded place." Her friend, it turns out, is a cop.
Oh, okay.
Yes. A police officer who does protective detail for metropolitan elected officials facing unsettling attention. My own background includes a decade as a grassroots political volunteer and several years now as an opinion writer. We've talked at length about some of our experiences on the political scene, so my friend had already heard about an event featuring a controversial conservative speaker that I'd attended at the University of Iowa in April 2023, at which two wannabe resistance fighters dropped backpacks full of marbles near the top of a flight of hard stairs at the event's main point of entry. This is the incident that will never go away. We live in the shadow of the marbles.
It's exactly equivalent to the Trump assassination attempt as well.
Yeah, a very relevant incident to bring up in this context. I do want to drill down on this a bit. She refers to them as two wannabe resistance fighters. So kind of trying to belittle and minimize the people who did this. You think you're really going to change the world. You're a fucking wannabe resistance fighter. But then every time she refers to what they did, very much oversells it, right?
Acts like it's the most horrible thing.
Yeah. You're a wannabe resistance fighter. You wish you were actually out there making a difference, actually getting in a real fight with the people oppressing you. And so you did this thing that could have killed me and is actually one of the most violent things I've ever experienced. So yeah, she again recaps what happened with the marbles. And she refers to it as a scary political moment. I can sum it up in 5 words. Politics bring out the crazies, as do the issues at their center over which we are so often divided.
Wow. Just very profound. Politics brings out the crazies. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Yeah, she was also in attendance at that event, right?
Yeah,
As
if you're
was
going
I.
to a Matt
We're all
Walsh
fucking
event,
crazy.
exactly. We're all fringe. If you're going to a Matt Walsh event or care about Matt Walsh event, you're probably like not really. You're probably top 10 politics carers, top 10 percentile.
Yeah. And then they find out about the Trump assassination attempt when they're at a bar after they visit the museum or whatever. Armed assailants are luckily an extreme rarity at presidential rallies, but our fear for our safety isn't limited to the presence of weapons. And in our modern era of political vitriol, safety in our political activities is at the forefront of our minds more than ever. So it's not just guns that threaten our safety at political events. It's also marbles.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing if you really think about it. Like, there's no mention in this article about the guy who actually died, by the way. I think that's probably the primary difference between the two events is the fatality at the assassination attempt. A man died. And,
I don't think they intended to kill anybody with those marbles. I think it was kind of supposed to be an inconvenience to people who also don't want people like that to even be visible in society.
Sort of a nuisance, a inconvenience, like you said, discomfort, rising tensions. It's sort of, and zero injuries, Can't be stressed enough. It caused a problem for people who insist on, spreading hate at a high level.
Yep.
And then she describes an incident where some guy visited a Donald Trump campaign office in 2016 and was weird and made her uncomfortable, but didn't seem to actually do anything. Again, a much less threatening incident than a guy who shot a presidential candidate in the ear with a gun. But then I did want to read this. This is my favorite.
Okay, go ahead. I think this is the part that I'm reading right now.
Okay, this is my favorite part. Just as we learned this week when bullets flew at a Trump rally, it simply cannot be claimed that political violence is a partisan problem. Both sides have their freaks at the local and national level. They're easy to spot when they're in firing position on a sloped roof. They're not so easy to spot when they're on a college campus with a backpack containing what you hope is just books. So again, two people with some marbles. That's kind of more scary than
that is more scary because you don't know when those marbles are coming out. It might just not be marbles. Unknown. It might be like jacks that will really fuck up the bottom of your feet.
Yeah. Like if I see a guy on the roof pulling out a gun and pointing it at the speaker, I know what he's up to. I know what to expect in the next few seconds. Yeah. But
that's why I got full body armor. That's why I'm wearing a fucking helmet.
But every time I see, a kid wearing a backpack and the backpack is all zipped up and it's not like one of those see-through backpacks, it's like, I don't know what's in there. I have to run away from anyone with a concealed carry. Well, not, it could be, I don't know. It could be concealed carry of a weapon.
Yeah. It's not how I would recommend you carry, but it might still be legally allowed.
Yeah. I mean, what if that backpack, instead of being full of marbles, what if it was full of bullets?
Makes you think.
We didn't know. What I'm asking for is for backpacks to be banned on college campuses. It's just too dangerous.
Yeah. We need, just like you said, do the clear ones. You can only have clear backpacks. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna be in a public building, clear backpacks or else. Yeah,
we're gonna need checkpoints at every entrance to the campus with big metal detectors.
You get pre-approved. You get that pre-check.
Yeah. The university needs a lot of new funding to start this up, but we're gonna need a CSA. Not Confederate States of America, but Campus Safety Administration.
Yeah.
Not enough cops. Anyway, I thought that was a very fun article, equating marbles to guns and a tripping hazard.
I thought you were going to mention
bullet to the head.
She says that in June 2017, she gave an Uber ride to a friendly woman my age and her less friendly boyfriend. They asked if I liked Bernie Sanders, and I chuckled and said, I'm actually a conservative. Moments later, the girl was leaning forward from the backseat, inches away from my face, while literally screaming that the world was going to hell because of you and the way you voted. I pulled into a gas station and instructed the pair to exit the vehicle. As they got out, the woman took 2 bananas from a little snack basket I kept in the backseat and hurled them at my car as I drove away. They're always looking for handouts. She didn't say that.
Yeah, and I mean, the basket full of bananas is another unexpected source of violence.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have a backpack full of bananas. Those are notoriously slippery.
Imagine if the
oh my God.
top of the staircase was covered with banana peels.
Oh my God. I'm thinking of the chaos that could occur because of that.
Yeah, fucking Yakety Sax is playing in my head.
Oh my God.
Okay, where should we go from here? This is like something less funny, but something that I feel is worth talking about is the Des Moines homeless thing. Yeah. People are very upset about this, rightly so. I'm reading from the Des Moines Register here. This is a Virginia Beretta piece. Des Moines proposes harder line on homelessness with camping ban and speedier removal. So this is a direct result of the recent Supreme Court decision, which basically gave the green light to cities to make it just illegal to live outside.
To be in public.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Literally, like, yeah.
Make loitering like a capital offense, basically.
And our left-wing Des Moines city councilors saw that decision, and they're like, this is our ticket. Let's do that here.
Yeah, it's time to rock and roll.
As if they had any qualms about fucking bulldozing a homeless encampment before that. Like,
yeah, it's happened.
They just
right?
did it.
Yeah.
They just did it like fucking like 2 weeks ago.
Oh shit, yeah. So they try to kind of portray the homeless situation in Des Moines as being like a real major problem, and I don't doubt that the homeless population has increased. In fact, I think that they cite a number here.
Yeah.
12% increase. I think that's national. Yeah, 12% increase nationally, 11% in Des Moines or in Polk County. So about the same. But what is the problem? What's the underlying issue here that needs to be solved? Because the solution that they're presenting is what these people are doing is wrong and needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
As if it's like just them making a bad decision or like being malicious and like defying society. But
it's horrible.
Why is it increasing? Why are there more homeless people now than there were a few years ago?
Well, there's been a lot of state government assistance programs that have been cut back on. I assume that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Housing isn't really getting any more affordable.
Yeah, in fact, it's like
days.
ludicrous and a major source of like stress for even people making a decent living. Yeah. Yeah. But, what I really found striking in this, there were quotes from Des Moines City Councilor Chris Coleman, who's kind of like spearheading this. So let me just read a few things that he said to the Des Moines Register. I know it's hard to live on the streets. It's not easy. It's not healthy. A lot of times it's not safe. But we have too many people who feel like that's a better situation than moving into one of our shelters, and that's a problem. And is that a problem with the shelter, maybe? Or is it a problem with the people who choose living outside over living in a shelter?
I'm going to go with, the shelter.
To his credit, he does say, and so we need to improve our shelters and make it not quite so easy to live on the streets. So to his credit, and then immediately to his detriment.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to improve our shelters. Okay, I'm sure that's the case because like not a great situation most of the time. But then the second part, make it not quite so easy to live on the streets. When he just said, I know it's hard to live on the streets. So in order to fix this problem, you're going to make it more difficult to live on the street. This is not anyone's first choice, I don't think.
Yeah. Don't think it's an individual choice problem.
Yeah, like
come on, man.
I'm fortunate. I've never really had to face these kinds of decisions. But if I'm thinking about where could I spend the next night? I'm here in my house right now, so that's probably first choice. I have friends. I have family. I could stay with them if I need to. I have enough money to get a hotel room. I could do that if I needed to. Or I could go outside somewhere. It's not one of the top choices. And it's probably not anyone's top choice. But like, think about all those things I listed ahead of it. I have a house that I live in. Okay. That's not the case for everybody. I have friends and family that live nearby. I could get to their places. That's not the case for a lot of people. Or their relationships have strained because of the underlying situations that have led to them having to face this choice. That's all. There's just so much to this that's like, it seems obvious if you have any empathy to a human, and that just gets disregarded in these quotes.
For sure. And I mean, a lot of it, I think, has to do with like, a lot of these people are dependent on some sort of substance, be it alcohol or anything else. And that definitely contributes to people blaming them for their own problems. And there's not really like a lot of good, I don't know, I'm not familiar with what opportunities for like drug treatment stuff is in Des Moines. More familiar with that in Cedar Rapids, but they're not proposing like more resources to help people like ever. But they are proposing this thing, which is like $120 fine and a simple misdemeanor for being caught sleeping in public. Like that is going to have any positive effect whatsoever on these people's lives. Like just throwing them in jail, fining them, like that makes it harder for them to like get on their feet. Like there's no world where it doesn't. Like it's just fucking ridiculous.
How many of these people who are camped outside lacking housing they've got $120 in their pocket? Like, if they had money, they would probably be living inside. And again, if they have these addiction issues, like that eats up all their money because their body like forces them to spend their resources getting the substance they're addicted to. We want it to be easier to live where there are services and programs that can build their lives better.
Okay, so don't do this.
Right. Yeah, this seems to be definitely the opposite of that. Like, you would want to improve the services and the programs, make them easier to access, give them a lot more resources to actually take care of the problem. But instead, you're finding people who don't have money.
Yeah. Criminalizing something which is already like something that the police, I mean, it's like they'll come up with reasons to arrest people if they need to. Like, and that approach has not worked. Just hasn't worked. It's not going to ever work. So like,
well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's, if this is your strategy, like, I don't think that solving the problem is your goal. I think that it's just that it's
pushing
just that,
it out
like,
of sight.
Exactly. Yeah. These people being around is sort of like disturbing the status quo. And like, I think there's several mentions of, the phrase out of control. Yeah. Coleman said Des Moines is at a tipping point that once passed could result in a situation like those in some larger cities where homeless populations are out of control. So what does control look like? Like,
right.
a small enough...
Every one of them in prison. I mean...
God, yeah. I mean, that's seems to be the only solution that they can envision is, in order to control this, we got to put them in fucking cells. But a homeless population that's under control is like what? 5%? 5% of the people living in your city like don't have a home. Is that under control? What does 0% look like? How do you get there while maintaining the like supremacy of real estate? Probably you don't.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm very like I see all the arguments about like build more housing, like all the YIMBY stuff, versus the like give people more money side of it. So I mean, my instinct is to say it's more of a demand thing than a supply thing.
Yeah, I think that the data supports you in that.
That's my instinct. But again, like I don't know for sure. I think it also probably depends on the different, like the actual markets in each different city.
Sure.
As far as like what housing stock is even available. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it's like the solution is to get people into better situations one way or another.
Yeah.
If that means like, I don't know. I mean, I think you're going to have to put money in people's pockets at some point, or, you know, some sort of program. I don't think just building a bunch of housing and then expecting that to lower the housing costs is like really, I mean, maybe long term that helps, but I don't know.
Yeah, the people who build these housing units, like, they do it because they expect easy profit forever. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in that business. That's what attracts these people to this business, is easy profit forever. That's why you get into real estate. That's why you become a landlord. What if it just wasn't? What if it was no longer easy profit forever? What if we encourage these people to find other types of employment?
Yeah.
What if we get that under control? I feel like the landlord population is out of control.
I agree.
We need to make it.
I agree.
We need to make it not so easy to live off of the rent that you extract from people who can't afford to buy a home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Des Moines City Council is going to be discussing this tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. with no public comments. I do recommend that you give them a call or send an email to city manager Scott Sanders, any of your city council members, the mayor Connie.
Yes. I've been told that she's visiting Harvard. That's why she wasn't quoted in this article.
Okay. I'm sure she would have had a lot of insight on that. And then there are some, like, Des Moines Mutual Aid group provides, like, support for unhoused people. In the winter, it's more like propane tanks and stuff for heat.
Yeah.
But it's the hottest shit out here. Mm-hmm. So there's year-round need for that. Any sort of supportive services. Supply Hive is another kind of like offshoot of Des Moines Mutual Aid, I think.
Yeah.
That does like food rescue stuff and community fridge. I don't know what you're supposed to do about them trying to pass a fucking law with like zero public comment.
Yeah, I think the problem is that, like, this is not exactly, like, sure, it's a complicated issue, but it's like not super complicated. It's like shelter is a pretty basic human need, and it's been commodified, you know, like there are people who think that this basic human need is something that they should be able to profit greatly off of infinitely in perpetuity, and that makes it you get cut off from that if you don't reach a certain threshold of worthiness, which we measure in income and productivity. But, like, no. I think that even if you're a person who can't do anything and has $0, you deserve the basic human necessity of being able to live inside of a structure. Fuck it.
Yeah. I think we have enough room. I think there's enough money to go around. If it was distributed a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. We have the resources. It's absurd that, I don't know. I guess I haven't seen I assume that other cities are doing the same thing, but it just seems like so fast to do that. Like, oh, now that we have the green light that we can do this, that's like the first.
They've wanted to do it.
They've wanted. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's fucked up.
It exposes the evil that lurks in their hearts and minds. Mm-hmm. As soon as they're given permission from a clearly evil Supreme Court, they just follow suit right away. Yeah, just a little bit more from Chris Coleman. He said a small percentage of people who are homeless are disregarding our property, shunning our rules, and disrespecting our people. And I just felt like that was a very enlightening quote from him as well. Like, first of all, property and rules, those come before people.
Yep.
It seems like he's saying these in like order of importance. Property over rules over people. But also the way he says disrespecting our people, he's sort of separating the residents of Des Moines into two categories. And one type of person is what he considers our people. But then these other people are causing problems for our people.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, you represent the city of Des Moines, and that includes like, I mean, the people who live on the streets of Des Moines are like more Des Moines than anyone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They probably know more about the city than you do.
Yeah.
It's just evil shit. And yeah, I think breaking down the obstacles to going to the shelter is more important to me than the ordinance. All right.
Okay. How are you supposed to take this shit seriously?
So we got to do both sides of the coin at the same time. And when I hear that phrase, two sides of the same coin, I don't like, what is that image? It's like people talk about that in terms of like Republicans and Democrats. They're two sides of the same coin. That's never like a good, you're not implying anything good with that. The coin being the stupid, evil government of the United States of America, right? And so when he talks about like improving the nonprofit shelter system and enforcing an ordinance against people camping outside as both sides of the same coin, it's like, well, that coin is like maintaining this sort of illusion that shelter is scarce and it has a monetary value that needs to be upheld or whatever, right? I'm reading very in between the lines on that.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
But then he also, like in another quote, he refers to a carrot and a stick. So the homeless people, they're kind of like donkeys, right? and you motivate them by dangling the thing that they need to live just out of reach and then hitting them with a stick.
People who are already like living on the street, like that's not a fucking motivation.
No.
Like it's just not.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate to not have to face this kind of choice, or not even a choice, but to be essentially forced into like a very desperate situation. But, you know, at moments when I feel like depression is getting me and like I can't like, I don't know, live to my fullest. It's like, you know, more stressful life situations. It doesn't make it easier for you to like accomplish anything. So like the desperation of living outside, not having a shelter over your head, it's not something that you can easily just like work your way out of.
Yeah.
I don't think the carrot and the stick approach makes any sense. And then the whole like last part of this article is about how the people who run the shelters and like all the services in town were like not informed ahead of time that the city was doing this. So yeah,
for real,
really makes you think about what he said about how improving the shelters is actually way more important to me than the ordinance. It's like, well, why didn't you fucking communicate with anyone?
Hey, there's breaking news here.
Oh boy.
Apparently Joe Biden is endorsing Kamala Harris to be the next nominee for the Democratic Party.
Okay.
Apparently he's splitting it into two letters. One to drop out and then another one to endorse Kamala.
So that letter is not out yet?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not another letter, but he did just tweet from his official account.
Oh boy.
Anyway, I'm definitely voting for Kamala, by the way. I'm so excited. There's been a lot of talk about Bernie Bros and K-Hive uniting on getting rid of Joe.
Yeah, fuck it, man. Like, he should just resign.
He should.
Fuck it, man. Genocide Joe. We should shame him as much as possible on his way out.
Hate to see him go.
Yeah. Idiot.
Not like Kamala's going to be any better on that, but...
Probably not, but I don't know. I feel like she's like Joe is particularly like bloodthirsty.
Yeah. She might be, she might say it a little bit better.
Yeah.
She might make the case that, the whatever bear hug policy on Netanyahu,
Didn't I see something about how Joe was not going to make an announcement until Netanyahu addressed Congress this Wednesday?
I didn't see that.
I saw something about that.
I don't know. There's been lots of different, there's been a lot of people saying a lot of different things.
The past month has been so stupid.
It's hard to tell who actually knows what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, Joe Biden doesn't.
No.
Think about everything that he's said and done over the past month to just end up leaving anyway. Come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, it should have been obvious as soon as he, didn't, people were like, oh, he has to go on a media tour and, make all these appearances to push back against the narrative that he can't do it.
Yeah.
And then he, didn't do anything of the sort. And then it's what else are you going to do other than drop out? There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, and he was never going to do anything that would convince anyone. I don't know. He's just an ego-driven idiot.
Yeah.
All right.
If he would have, he could. Or if he could have, he would have,
Yeah.
Give him the bird.
Gotta give him the bird.
It's time to give him the bird. We're going to listen to a little bit of Brenna Bird at the RNC. And do you know what she sounds like?
I think we've seen a couple of her ads. I think maybe, didn't she was in the Give him the Bird ad a little bit.
Probably. I don't really remember. But this is not an Iowa accent, okay?
Good evening, Milwaukee. My name is Brenna Bird, and I am the Attorney General of the great state of Iowa.
Kim Reynolds kind of talks like that, too, though. It's sort of a Fargo accent.
Yeah. She's
Milwaukee.
playing it up a little bit.
Yeah. Great state of Iowa. If anyone doesn't know, she's the Attorney General of Iowa, formerly a chief of staff or something for Steve King. So a very, very evil person.
She's the Trumpiest person that we have in our state government, and that's why she's speaking at the convention and not Kim.
Yes.
Kim is very Trumpy in herself, but I mean, obviously she endorsed DeSantis, so that disqualified her from speaking. But Brenna is a true culture warrior. She's really something.
Yeah, we can hear a little bit of that in this speech, which not to spoil anything, but this speech really sucks. She's not a good public speaker. It's I might even call it cringe.
A few years ago, I was a local prosecutor locking up bad guys. But in 2022, I ran for Attorney General and beat the incumbent Democrat who was first elected when I was just 2 years old.
Look at that fake-ass smile. She's talking about Tom Miller got his ass beat in office for 100 years and lost to this. She is wearing a blue line flag pin, by the way. A desecration of the flag.
We won because Iowans were ready for an attorney general who would protect them, not the criminals. An attorney general who would stand up to Joe Biden and the radical Democrats.
Joe Biden.
And an attorney general who would defend our constitutional freedoms. But perhaps more than anything, Iowa voters wanted an attorney general who would back the blue.
Okay. I don't think there's a lot of daylight in between Brenna Bird and Tom Miller when it comes to backing the blue.
No.
Tom Miller's ads that I saw were about executing pedophiles, basically. It was not a race about a huge difference in carceral policy or anything. It was which one of us hates pedophiles more and wants to put them in more fucked up jails? She started this whole thing about how she likes locking up bad guys. And that's maybe my least favorite phrase that these people use. I've heard cops talk about bad guys before, and it's are we babies?
Yes, actually, yeah. The people who are watching the RNC are definitely babies, and they definitely do respond to that kind of messaging because they are the good guys,
Yeah, right.
Liberals, pedophiles, those are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Pretty clear cut.
I remember a few years ago at work, they had a cop come in and talk to us about basically about like what to do if a guy comes in with a gun and shoots at your ear, like how to being prepared for that kind of thing. And I remember him using that phrase, what to do if a bad guy comes in. And I was already kind of like poisoned to like cops in general.
Yeah, like but there's a lot of bad guys who already work here, and they're like allowed. They have little cards that give them physical access.
Yeah, but I was like, man, are the people in this room who like don't hate cops? Are they really like? Do they feel good about hearing him say that? Like, he's got a gun. Like, this is a guy who like sees the world as like good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Democrats like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have made life miserable for law enforcement.
I feel so bad for them.
And the funny thing is the good guy, bad guy stuff is definitely not a conservative thing. It's just American politics because it's the exact same scenario on the Democrat side.
Oh, yeah. Kamala Harris also was a prosecutor, right? So she's talking about someone with the same job as her.
Yeah. I'm sure you could find a million Kamala Harris speeches where she says the same thing. Like, almost verbatim about the good guys, bad guys thing.
I love locking up bad guys. Yeah. I skipped ahead to kind of the end of this.
New York City police officer.
Oh, okay. So she talks about how a cop in New York was killed and Trump went to his funeral.
We all owe heroes like Officer Jonathan Diller a debt we can never repay.
Jonathan Diller?
No clue.
No?
Who's that?
No. Yeah, he was... I think it was a traffic stop or something, and he got shot and killed. Yeah.
Mm. Did you hear? Apparently,
New York.
Apparently, Biden reached out to the widow of the guy who died, or I'm sorry, Biden reached out to the widow of the guy who died in the Trump shooting.
Yeah.
And like his wife was like, "Oh, like I'm not a supporter of Biden, but I appreciate that he reached out or whatever," and then said that she didn't hear it all from Trump.
Yeah, actually, I remember. So I did watch this speech before playing it on the show, and that was kind of what I thought of. Is like she's talking up how he went to the funeral of some cop in New York. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess he kind of lives in New York, so I guess it kind of makes sense for him to make an appearance at something like that. But like, why bring that up the week that like it's in the news that he skipped the funeral of a guy who took the bullet for him, literally?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. She didn't have time to redo her speech in the time since the shooting.
Yeah, weirdly, she didn't even really bring that up, the shooting, which kind of was like a big deal at the RNC, obviously.
Yeah, it was kind of a big deal.
Everyone was wearing their solidarity ear patches.
Little square bandages.
Yeah.
President Trump knows this, and he shows his gratitude.
Oh my God, I forgot about this. Okay, so she just said Trump shows his gratitude, and then I know that listeners at home, you can't see this, but the camera cuts to Trump.
Gratitude. Joe Biden was also in New York City that day, but instead of...
And Trump is just talking to the person next to him through Brenna's
not
speech.
even paying attention.
Give a fuck. Skipping ahead again to the very end of this.
I urge everyone listening to stand with law enforcement and vote to make America safe again. I urge you to vote for Donald Trump on November 5th. Thank you, Milwaukee, and God bless
you. Kind of looks like a Nazi salute, but not quite.
Nah.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer speech.
We'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
I'm not sure if she's going places or not.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think I've heard rumors that she might be, like, that Kim might not be running for re-election, and that Brenna Bird might be the next in line, which, yeah.
Unfortunately, she is kind of on
Rob
par.
Sand.
She is kind of on par with Kim Reynolds in terms of compelling speaking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a very seamless transition if it does happen.
Yeah.
I don't think it might as well just be Kim Reynolds running for re-election again if she's the candidate instead.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Rob Sand versus Brenna Byrd. Who you got?
I'm not sure. I mean, I can predict a lot about how that race would go, but I don't know who would come out on top. Because, like, Byrd is, kind of like the same candidate as Kim Reynolds has been. I think when Kim Reynolds initially became governor, she was not quite so hard right in terms of like how she presented herself, at least. Yeah,
her public image for sure.
Yeah, but the last election, I mean, she was like as hard as possible, and that's kind of the same as Brenna. And then Rob Sand's whole thing is going to be like, oh no, I'm not about partisan politics. I'm for everybody. I'm the unity candidate, and I don't think right now that's a winning strategy in Iowa. I don't know.
I'll say this: if whoever the new Democratic candidate wins, then Brenna Byrd probably has got him. But if Trump wins, then I think Rob Sand might actually be the favorite.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, a midterm.
Because it's going to be 2028.
Or
2026, I think.
Is that the next gubernatorial election?
I believe so.
Yeah, if it's a Trump midterm, I think that Democrats can do well in Iowa, because that's what happened in 2018.
And Rob Sand, as much as we hate him, is probably the most likely Democrat to actually win. Like, I know we talk a lot of shit on him, but his stupid ass message might actually resonate, especially if it's a Trump presidency.
Yeah, in an off year with some Trump backlash, I think that could be successful. I think you're right. Mm-hmm. And he has been sharing a lot these like approval polls, Rob Sand, I mean, that show that he is more liked than any other statewide office holder. Mm-hmm. So the people who are polled, who actually know who these people are, seem to prefer him to Brenna Byrd. So Brenna Byrd, not a very compelling speaker, but you know who is a compelling speaker who spoke at the RNC?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You know something? When I came here tonight, there was so much energy in this room. I felt maybe I was in Madison Square Garden getting ready to win another world title. Or maybe I thought...
Do you think he really thought that?
No.
Yeah, so Hulk Hogan spoke at the RNC. And I didn't know this was happening until the other day when I was talking to Brian Quimby and he brought it up. And I don't know. Am I shocked? I guess I'm not completely shocked, but like Hulk Hogan is like a very well documented racist. Man.
Yeah. I was gonna say in 2024, it's a little wild to have Hulk Hogan on the stage. I wonder if like the Peter Thiel money that he used for his lawsuit against Caucus kicked in. It's like Peter Thiel's got a mutual friend between him and Trump.
Yeah, the Vance VP pick comes, and then the Hulkster gets a little ring on his cell phone.
Yeah.
Time for a little return on investment, buddy.
There's also been videotaped saying the N-word, videotaped having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
Yeah, this is not, well, I don't know, not a safe middle of the road guy, I think, to have speak at a political convention.
But most of the people don't know anything about that, so they're just vibing in the Hulkster's aura.
Yeah.
You know? Terry. Let's go, Terry.
Yeah, let me see if I picked out a few clips here. I just want to... You haven't seen this, right?
No.
Okay, so I got to play this one for you. His speech kind of had an Act 1 and an Act 2, and this is the end of Act 1.
But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero? And they tried to kill the next President of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
So the camera goes back to the crowd. There was a lady who looked like afraid and was being like escorted away by. Yeah, if you haven't seen the clip, while he was screaming, he was also ripping a shirt, doing a classic Hulk Hogan move where he rips the shirt off of his body, revealing a Trump Vance 2024 shirt underneath.
So which professional wrestler are they going to have at the DNC to combat the Hulk Hogan bump?
I think the best pick for that would be Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that is plausible. That's plausible.
Yeah, it would be the best choice, and it also seems like potentially a realistic option. Dave Bautista, you know him?
Yeah, I mean
he's a lib.
Yeah, and he's known outside of wrestling now that he's in those what is it, Guardians of the Galaxy shit.
Yeah, he's in the Dune movies also. He's cool.
Oh yeah, that too.
I like Dave Bautista.
Ultimate Warrior's dead, so can't do that.
And also is extremely conservative. You know, my pick would be, of course, Jesse Ventura, but there's no way.
Oh, yeah. True. I didn't even think of Jesse Ventura. What's Randy Savage? Oh, he's also dead. Damn.
He died, unfortunately. And Hulk actually brought Randy Savage up at least twice in his speech at the RNC. Because he said he kind of was referring to Trump Vance as a tag team and comparing them to some of the greatest tag teams ever.
Hell yeah.
Like Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage. Let me play this next clip. So this is the beginning of Act 2 of the Hulk Hogan speech.
You know something, Trumpites? I didn't come here as Hulk Hogan, but I just had to give you a little taste. You know, my name is Terry Bollea. And as an entertainer...
So he's out of character.
I love you too. And as an entertainer,
no one needs that.
I tried to stay out of politics. But after everything that's happened to our country over the past 4 years and everything that happened last weekend, I can no longer stay silent.
So the shooting is what inspired Terry Bollea to make an appearance at the RNC.
It's also crazy. Wasn't this like right before Trump spoke? Like he was like his opener.
It was the same night. I'm not sure if it was like immediately preceding Trump, but yeah. Do you think that this moves anyone?
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
It's probably one guy out there who is like, it's like, okay, now I'm really on board with the Trump train.
Yeah. This is maybe just for Trump himself, you know, as a wrestling fan.
I didn't really know I guess he was like, he like wrestled Vince McMahon or something once.
Yeah. He was like good friends with Vince McMahon. Well, and Linda McMahon was part of his administration.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Terrible people all around.
Yep. Okay, let me just play the end of Terry Bollea's riveting speech.
So all you criminals, all you lowlifes, all you scumbags, all you drug dealers, and all you crooked politicians need to answer one question, brother. What you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you, brother? God bless you, and thank you.
All these old-ass white people just loving it.
Yeah. All you criminals, scumbags, lowlifes, drug dealers.
That was a shoot, man.
Come on, Terry. You're really going to tell me you've never been friends with any drug dealers? I mean, fuck it. No one cares about the hypocrisy, but like all this emphasis on like law and order, we got to punish the criminals and shit. It's like, you know, you got a convicted felon at the top of the ticket.
Yeah.
Scumbags, lowlives. Yeah.
It's not good.
That's kind of all the time we've got. There is an important story that I think we should mention briefly. A friend of the show is also being targeted by the corrupt justice system. You can read about this in a few local publications. There's a Gazette article called Iowa City Man Charged with Setting Up Fake Accounts Under UI Police Detective's Name. And this is in reference to a friend of ours, Dan, who made an Ian Mallory parody account on Twitter that he is now being criminally prosecuted for.
You have to censor the name out of the individual he allegedly... What are the charges he stole the identity of?
Yeah, well, you know, I've seen the documents. What are the criminal charges here? The fucking article brings up a bunch of related court proceedings, including names of some other friends of ours.
I was going to say, I recognize those names.
Yeah.
But, third-degree harassment, tampering with a witness or juror, and identity theft.
Right.
The last two are aggravated misdemeanors.
Right.
I mean, come on. Give me a fucking break.
This is for making a Twitter account, basically. So I don't know. I don't want to say anything that would cause any problems for Dan or for anyone else who may have to be part of this proceeding. I guess I'm talking about myself. But this is bullshit. I have my friend Dan's back. He didn't do anything criminal here. This is absurd. This is a man who's using his power, his connections to other people in power to make life difficult for his critics. That's what's happening. Which is
kind of why he was criticized to begin with, or why this whole thing happened, was kind of because he was like targeting people who were friends of yours and Dan's.
Right. He is a public figure, and it's fair game to criticize a detective who is going after people with charges that are bullshit. In one case that was, proven in a court of law, they were bullshit charges. Right? Yeah.
Well, let's try to go for, what was it, 2 for 2 or 3 for 3 on, well... I know that one of them didn't end up with the best outcome.
2.5.
2.5 out of 3. Yeah. Anyway, feels like you got a strong case because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it seems pretty open and shut in my opinion, but don't really want to speculate.
Yeah. We support Dan and hope that all the Rock Hard Caucus listeners will look into the situation and have Dan's back as well. He did spend a night in a cell because of this, which is like, Jesus, man, really? Is that really necessary? I don't know.
They will have you do that.
Yeah. Jeez. All right. Well, if you have any thoughts about Ian Mallory or anything else, keep in mind he will attempt to press charges against you if you say the wrong thing. So be careful, but you can call us at 319-849-8733 to share your constitutionally protected criticisms of people in positions of power. 319-849-8733. You can send us mail if you'd like at P.O. Box 5336 in Coralville, Iowa, 52241. And if you're in Des Moines, contact the city council. Tell them that the homelessness ordinance is horseshit. They will be meeting about that tomorrow morning.
Absolutely. Yep. And you're going to have this out by today, right?
Yeah, I should get this out.
We'll get
soon.
Some people to listen to it and hopefully jump on board that.
Yes. Right. If you like the podcast, you want to spend some money to keep the podcast going, you can go to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. Just the other day, I think it was Thursday that I uploaded a new episode of Bay Not Me Slippin', which is our series reviewing Slipknot albums. I reviewed the Gray Chapter with the POD cast. That's John Cullen and Brian Quimby. Evan unfortunately had to miss that one.
Yeah, I'm bummed I missed it. I had some stupid work shit to deal with, so I couldn't make it. But I have listened to at least the first part of it, and sounded like a good time. And Brian's always, he's the resident new metal expert, so
right.
And it's always a good pod hang. So
yeah, we were super looking forward to getting them their thoughts on later era Slipknot, because they haven't talked about anything after Iowa in a public forum before, so we kind of got the scoop.
Got the exclusive.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'll plug Autonomy Iowa City. If you the abortion situation is only getting worse here in Iowa. So if you find yourself in a desperate situation, you need some pills or any sort of help in that realm, there are people who know what to do and will help you safely. You can contact them on Signal at autonomyiowacity.34. Each of those words is capitalized. So you got capital A Autonomy, capital I Iowa, capital C City.34. It's looking bleak. So whoever is willing to help, willing and able, we got to support them. And do what we can for each other. And the Iowa Abortion Access Fund as well, which is a little bit more public facing and
Yep.
We got anything else going on?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Well, Evan, I may need to break the Sunday streak next week.
Why is that?
I'm going to be in Minneapolis next weekend.
Okay. That's fine.
Probably won't be
survive.
back in town. Yeah. In time to record on Sunday.
Well, we don't have to do it on Sunday. Do a different day.
We could.
But, I don't know. 2 episodes in a week? This might be too much.
Oh, like recorded before I leave?
Yeah. Or, after, too.
Yeah, well, we can... I don't want to spoil anything. Let's
just wait.
There.
Let's just wait for the next major news event and then record it on the next day.
I'm sure nothing will happen between now and next Sunday.
All right. Sounds like a plan.
Well, that was Rock Hard Caucus episode 157. Thank you for listening, everybody. And thank you, Joe Biden, for finally dropping out of the presidential race.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
Doing the right thing for the first time in your old, miserable life.
Yeah, thank you for doing the right thing like 10 months too late.
Yeah.